Well, okay, so the thing was, the commission went around the world they toured a lot of major colleges. I can't remember all the ones they went to. But when they started, they said, we figure this will be over in 6 weeks. Well, it lasted 14 months. And in that time, their findings basically were, chiropractic is a distinct science and deserves to stand on its own feet and should be included in the health services of the New Zealand Government Health Department. And after that, we got invited to talk to the nurses and the medical doctors' councils, and our president at the time, Dr. Gordon Miller, spoke to the radiology conference here in Wanganui. It did open up a few gaps for a while, but it sort of went back to normal. They said we should have the commission said there should be a chiropractor in every A&E in the New Zealand hospitals.
So it was obviously tiring for the key people, for the key chiropractors involved.
Dr. Clive Mudgway spent 13 successive hours in the witness box. No one ever sat in a witness chair at a commission in history longer than that.
So what keeps them going? Like what would...
Well, you believe in what you do. It's a belief in, I still believe in chiropractic. Okay, medicine does a wonderful job in their field, but we've got our field, and as long as we stick to it, we do a damn good job. And I'm going to say that till I die. I still believe in chiropractic, and I always will. That's what you want. I don't care if that's what you want me to say or not. I'm saying it.
So what if the commission hadn't have worked out in our favour, I guess?
I'd have kept going. Where the point was, it got us into the health department, which ultimately got us into ACC, which I'm not all that keen on, because who are they to tell what patient should go and get ACC? You know, the patient should be to go to a chiropractor, and again, ACC is treating the symptom. It's not, in my opinion, practicing true chiropractic, because as far as I'm concerned, chiropractic is a way of life. It's a preventative technique to try and keep people healthy and stay that way, removing subluxations. But if you come to a chiropractor as a result of an injury which subluxated you, well, who's the better guy to do it? Nobody better than a chiropractor to correct it. So that got us into ACC. And a lot of chiropractors, their whole practice is ACC, unfortunately. My patients are nearly all maintenance coming in because, hey, it keeps me right. I've got medical doctors, I've got farmers who come in, John, I'm here, my 3-monthly checkup. Ever since I've been doing this, my back never gives me any trouble, you know, so it's worth it.
Do you know what the findings were on the education side of the
education side?
Yeah.
Are you saying, like, were we qualified?
Yeah.
They were totally happy with the standard right around the world in all the colleges. They said it was far better than we ever anticipated. I can't quote word for word, but they were totally happy with the standard of education as given in these various colleges. And while I didn't personally like the national philosophy of chiropractic, which was very medically oriented, Andy Kleinens was the best thing that ever happened, because he brought an educational side to chiropractic that possibly was lacking in some of the schools, let's be honest. Yeah. Okay. But the commission found very much in their favour.
So if chiropractic had been made illegal, what kind of impact would that have had on you?
Well, if it had been made totally illegal, I would have probably carried on practicing until they arrested me, you know. No, I would have, because, if you go back in history, some of the protests that occurred in some of the states in the United States, there were 200 and 300 patients standing outside the walls of the prison or the police station saying, I want my damn chiropractor back, you know, and it didn't last. In fact, the evidence we gave, there is no way they would have found against it. There was a chiropractor who spoke against it, how chiropractors cheated in their basic science. I wrote exams for other people, you know, and he said, well, we don't want to hear that. He said, you're dishonest, and if you would do that, we don't want to hear your testimony. There was another one from Pennsylvania, and I can't remember his name now, but he has always been totally against chiropractic, and they refused to hear him. They just said, we're just not interested. Your testimony has no validity. You've got nothing to back it. And English was very, very sour about that. We also had a scientist from Canterbury University whose specialty was spectrography, and he was pretty good up on X-ray. And he just said, look, he said, these guys know what they're talking about. You know, that's all there was about it.
You mentioned Virgil Strain. How much did he influence the way that you actually practice chiropractic throughout your career and even now philosophy-wise?
Quite a lot, because he emphasised the importance of the subluxation and getting rid of a subluxation. That's what you do as a chiropractor. Okay, if you want a little bit of my take on philosophy, as I've always said, that the subluxation complex is the most important thing in chiropractic. And a lot of chiropractors try to take credit for curing people. Now, this is not true. You don't cure anybody. If you're a chiropractor, all you do is remove or try to remove subluxation, no matter where it occurs in the body. And I believe personally that a subluxation mostly is physical, but it can also be mental and it can also be chemical. I mean, if you're poisoning your body with the wrong foods all the time, well, you're going to keep getting sick, and that can lead to subluxation. So if I'm upsetting you, I'm sorry, but this is the way I believe. But I still think, and all I look after is subluxation. Well, I mean, now I got about size 15 hands, and I have no problem adjusting a baby 12 days old with those. And I have no compunction, and I will do it if they need adjusting. And that's my whole tenet. Adjust the patient, and as Dr. Clarence Gonstead said, find the subluxation, adjust it, and leave it alone. My problem with a lot of chiropractors is that they've got to adjust something every day the patient comes in because they want to justify their fee. But if the patient doesn't need adjusting on that day, you're going to do just as much harm as if you didn't adjust them when they need it. That's my view. It may not be held by everybody. And that's why I've adopted the technique I use of muscle testing, which I find tells me when a patient needs to be adjusted, have I corrected the subluxation, and have I done everything that I need to do on that day? When they come in the next time, wherever it's a week or a month or a year, I would go through the same thing. And if they don't need adjusting, I tell them. That's all there is about it. If you do the right thing and adjust them properly, the body is what heals. Innate intelligence, for want of a better word, and I believe in innate, believe me, I believe in innate. If we didn't have that innate intelligence, then people wouldn't get better. So I'm all for adjusting subluxation, and that's why I'm a chiropractor. And that's it. That's it. No other reason.
Can you believe that your first ever adjustment?
Just speak up a little bit. I don't really know.
Can you believe your first ever chiropractic adjustment was from the one and only Dr. John Nolan?
Yeah, he's notorious really, as far as I can tell. I didn't really know who John was up until I met you guys, and then he's actually been built up to be quite a character for me anyway.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Can you describe the experience?
Yeah, it was really out of him. That was my first, like you said, the first time I've actually received any treatment like that. And when I actually got bang done, kind of felt a rush. It was quite out of it, and a taste in my mouth, like something. Yeah, it was really, really strange experience.
It's amazing the change you can feel after this one little adjustment.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, definitely.
That's so cool.
Thanks, John. Cut.